All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming. And in the last video, what I had done in here was I had gone over the view model file that I had in here. And what I've decided to do is to bring up this view model file. But before I do, I'm going to change the name. I'm going to call it Create New Employee VM.cs, and yes, I want to change everything that's connected to it. Then I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it in here. And this copy I'm going to rename. And I'm going to rename this one Edit Existing Employee VM.cs. Okay. Now, why did I do this? I mean, why do I have two of these? All right. When you first look at it, it's going to appear that these things are almost identical. Well, now they are because I just copied one into the other. All right. The create employee model is going to be used for adding a new employee. It represents a blank form that the user is going to fill out from scratch. All right. The employee type is going to be a user input. All right. It's marked as required, meaning the user must choose either hourly or piece worker or salaried or commission or salaried. All right. So it's going to be rendered as a drop-down list or drop-down box. Could also be used as radio buttons, I guess, but I'm not going to. There's really going to be no ID property in here because the employee doesn't yet exist in the database, so there's nothing to identify. Now, we're going to have validation in here, and that validation is going to enforce that the user makes the right choice before anything is going to be saved. All right. So again, in this create, I don't need this. So that's out of there. All right. The other thing that I should be doing in here is setting these things up. Well, let's just go into it. This is the employee. We got public class here, employee VM. No, it's going to be the new name, remember? So this is going to be public class, and this one is, hold on a second. I want to keep that in there. I want to go back to my create new employee one that we've got in here. All right, let's get rid of this. That's what I meant to do. So that's the only thing I've changed. Okay, this is going to be used with a brand new form, and we will choose the type of employee. Regardless of employee type, we're going to have a first name and a last name. But based on the employee type that we choose, we're going to have either an hourly employee with hours worked and hourly rate, or a piece worker employee with pieces made and price per piece, or a commission employee with sales amount and a commission percentage, or a salaried employee with a salary. All right. Now, when we have the edit employee, that's going to be for modifying an existing employee. So let's do this. Let's do a file, save all here, and we're going to get rid of the create new employee for now. All right, and this one is going to be edit existing employee VM. Okay. Now, in this one, it is going to be mandatory that we put in an ID. Why is it going to be mandatory? This will be a pre-populated form for a record that already exists. So the ID must be present. The controller needs to know which employee to update in the database. Without it, you'd have no way of targeting the right record and knowing which employee to update. The employee type that's in here is going to be used as display only. All right? It's not going to have a required attribute. And the comment will say user cannot change it. Once you have an employee that you've created, for example, if you create an hourly employee, it doesn't make any sense to switch it, as an example, to a commission employee. All right? Because the way that you figure out, they have different fields, and the way you figure out their gross pay is different, so the business logic is different. All right? Because the employee type is read-only on the edit, there's going to be no validation pressure. It's just shown on the screen for contextual purposes, so you have an idea of what's going on. Now, could you try to cram everything into one class? The answer is you probably could, but what would happen if we did that is we'd end up with very messy logic. All right? We'd probably need flags like an isEditMode flag, etc. The validation attributes would be firing incorrectly or possibly incorrectly, depending on the type of employee you'd be working with. The ID field would be nullable. All right? The view template would become, it would be goofed up, for lack of better words. All right? Keeping these two separate is the single responsibility principle that we apply to view models, where each class does exactly one job, does it right. And the views and the controllers that are going to use these then would stay simple, or simpler, and unambiguous. All right, so in here, as we get going, we still have this. All right, we've got public ID, get set. Remember, that ID was removed from here. All right, still got the required first name, exactly the same as we had it, the required last name, exactly as we had it. All right, now we've got, for our employee type, all right, for that employee type, it's going to be display only for that employee type. All right, now for that employee type that we had earlier in here, we should really change this. All right, what do I mean? Well, let's come in here, and first of all, let's make it required. And let's set up an error message. Required error message is going to be equal to you must select an employee type. All right, and that right here where we've got this, that should be a paren. So let's put an ending paren here. That looks a little bit better. And we can do a display name on here too, like we've been doing. And we'll say name equals employee type. Okay? So in this case, when you're adding a new employee, all right, when you're creating a new employee, the employee type must be known. It is required. So you know basically which table to put it into, but we don't have an ID field. On the other hand, for editing an existing employee, we do have an ID field because we need to know which employee to be editing. But for our employee type, it's not required, and we're not adding anything special, so to speak, for this. All right, hourly will stay the same in that it'll have the hours worked and the hourly rate. Piece worker will stay the same in that it will have the pieces made and the price per piece. Commission worker will stay the same in that it'll have a sales amount and a commission percentage, and the salaried will remain the same. Now, maybe I haven't convinced you of anything yet as far as why this is important, why you do this, etc. But we're going to keep looking at it as we go on. All right, and that's what I wanted to say in this particular video. Now, starting in the next video, and let me do another file save all here. And let's get rid of both these. We've already talked a little bit about this home controller, which right now has virtually nothing in it. All right, but we're going to talk about the employee controller. This is going to be several hundred lines long. I would guess, again, right now, I have absolutely no idea. If we run this, if it's going to run, I'm going to guess we'd probably get errors. And we do. Not too many. Oh, just that error view model stuff. There's an error.cs HTML file. And maybe we'll go back and add one of those later. I don't know. All right. But that's not too bad. These are all error things that are, basically that are in there right now. So again, starting in the next video, we're going to start going over this controller, and we're going to start adding a lot of code to it, because this is going to be basically the glue. We've come in here and we have added our models. All right, we have not really yet added our views. We now put in the view models. So what's left in here are our views, and under our controllers here, our employee controller. So that's what we're going to start working on in the next video. All right. I'll see you again. Probably it'll be a couple days, but I'll talk to you then. Thanks.